in a special Bloomberg West panel on all of this. Julie Roehm is the Senior Vice President of Marketing at SAP. She's also a former Senior VP of Marketing for Walmart and former Marketing Director at Chrysler. She is with us from Stamford, Connecticut. Kurt Detweiler is an Executive Creative Consultant, also a former Executive Vice President at McCann Erickson North America. And with us for the hour is our special guest host, Dave Goldberg, CEO of SurveyMonkey. So everyone, thank you for being part of this panel. Obviously, a lot of people are talking about the Super Bowl last night. Kurt, let me start with you. How much does the fact that Twitter even exists, along with other social media, really raise the bar for advertisers?
I think it definitely raises the bar for advertisers because you're not just buying a TV commercial anymore. You're really buying into a whole big campaign and a big idea. So you have to think about the fact that this is going to live on and beyond a simple 30 or 60 or 2-minute slot that you've purchased on TV. So it's got a much larger lifespan than the bowl itself.
Julie, what about you?
Well, I think with Twitter, the big issue for marketers and advertisers is there's no place to hide. Twitter is an essential part of any marketing campaign because of the pre-game efforts that go on, but also because of the reaction that happens after, and then what you do with that reaction. If you're simply passive and you wait to see, but you don't take advantage of what that reaction and that conversation is, I think you've really missed the boat.
Julie, this is Dave. I wanted to see what you guys think about the notion that internet advertising was supposed to replace TV ads, but now we're talking about how internet and particularly social ads are interacting with each other. Which way is it going? Are they going to coexist, or is internet advertising eventually going to replace the TV ads and we're just in this weird place right now?
Look, I don't think that you're going to ever see, in at least my lifetime or yours, the internet usurp television completely. I do see them as symbiotic, but they're very different mediums. Television is still probably one of the best storytelling mediums out there, and Twitter and all the rest of the social mediums are just another way to share that and to engage. I think the sharing aspect that the social platforms bring is probably what's most important to augment and really take that television advertising into a whole new dimension.
So then, Kurt, at what point does this actually translate into more dollars for Twitter if that's where advertisers can get advertising essentially for free?
More impressions, more conversation, more interaction with your consumers is really something that's special for marketers, advertisers. They are able to constantly take the temperature of the consumer, see what they think, see what they feel, see who can be a brand advocate, and see who and what can really propel their message forward. And it's like an ongoing focus group. They can really, really gauge and measure lots and lots of different reactions and nuances and things. And they get to figure out what they can pick up on and then what will give more velocity to their brand going forward.
Now, Julie, let me ask you this question. How valid is the reaction of the Twitter sphere? I mean, if Twitter comes out and people on Twitter seem to like the ad generally, does that actually translate into sales?
Not necessarily. I mean, we've seen that time after time. I think the issue is it shareable? Is it interesting? Is the reaction interesting enough where the people who are responding on Twitter or any other social platform are sharing it on a frequent enough basis and it's getting picked up because that's interesting enough? It is all about the interest of content, and it's all about what the strategy of the marketer is. So if the marketer is really trying to get a big bang out there and get you to try and to sample their product, then you've got a great opportunity. I think the Oreo example that you had on the previous segment with Twitter was genius. Same with Tide. I think what Taco Bell had done in terms of their pre-game to the game, again, genius. And now watching how they're following up on that from the social sphere afterward and getting people to not only share what happened with those ads during the game or during the blackout, but then getting people to actually go and sample the product, that's the end game. I mean, at the end of the day, we want people to consider, we want people to buy.
So, just given the volume of tweets on Twitter were highest for Beyonce, and Pepsi sponsored the halftime show, is Pepsi the big winner? I mean, they got the most volume, more than the game, more than the power outage.
Not in my. I think Pepsi surely is going to do fine. I think it's tough to compete with Beyonce because Beyonce is pretty rock solid, but it certainly doesn't hurt to be associated with Beyonce in any way, shape, or form. And Pepsi, by the way, is genius at being able to take something like this halftime show and extend it over and over and over again. So I think that we're going to not just see this halftime one and done deal with Pepsi. I think we're going to see Pepsi take it and really make hay, if you will, with what they did during the Super Bowl.
Kurt, what are we going to be talking about after the Super Bowl next year? What's the conversation going to be? What's going to be happening with advertising then?
Again, I really believe that people are going to figure out how to create more than a commercial, but rather a cultural phenomenon with the work they do on the Super Bowl. You know, Tide can be giving out stencils now that people try to put of Joe Montana's face onto things, and maybe somebody can apply a different type of stain with that stencil to see if Tide can get it out. That makes that a bigger, grander idea than just a commercial that lives and dies and starts and stops right then and there. So I think next year people will really try to get more value than just the typical commercial.
Right, and next year, hopefully the 49ers get a second chance. All right. Thank you guys, Julie Roehm of SAP, Kurt Detweiler, an executive creative consultant, and of course, Dave Goldberg of SurveyMonkey. Thanks so much for this conversation.